Chapter 1. A powerful tribe roamed the empty lands, just northeast of the lynches. There were not many who belonged to this tribe, a tribe led by Grand Wiccan named Tavo. The men were not allowed to claim the women for their own, for only the best fighters would be claimed behind the dedication of their labor. The females would take to the strongest, bravest, and wise to uphold a proper foundation to the building of their tribe. Everyone else would share the women who belonged, for their main obligations were to cater to their men, never to impregnate, for that would be her decision to make. They would please and relax the savage mind of all warriors of the tribe, for it was their duty to serve. There was one fighter, though, whom, for some reason, would not claim a spouse of his own. Instead of taking a woman of his own, he would only sexually engage with the tribe women. He was also the tribe's strongest and smartest fighter. Mainun was sitting with an associate, attempting to fix his hovercraft when he heard his name being called. He turned around to see who it was. He took notice to the other men getting ready to go on the hunt for food. He figured it was one of the men calling on him to also prepare to depart. "Can you fix the rest of this for me?" he asked his associate as he turned back towards his men. He grabbed his hovercraft by its handlebars. He hasn't driven it for quite some time. The seat was dusty, the metal was faded and needed oil, but none of that really mattered to him now. "Yeah, go ahead. I got it," he replied, crouched over, focusing on the device. Mainun stood to his feet, wiping the dust from the cloth that had covered only the lower portion of his body. Very barbaric he is, but he's also charming towards the women. His hair, braided back, gave him a childlike appearance, but no other part of his body was even remotely childlike. His only other apparel were his skin boots, trimmed with fur around the tops from a beast he had recently killed. His skin was dark brown, and it was as if you could see every muscle in his body as he flexed and stretched with every move he made. He strode towards the rest of the men, preparing to leave. "Where are we headed?" one of the hunters asked. "North," Mainun replied, as he watched a younger boy stagger towards him, his small arms smothered with heavy pieces of armor. I got it, Noon," the boy cried out, calling Mainun by his nickname. Mainun laughed. "It seems you are more ready for battle than I am, little Ive." Ive lifted Mainun's gear to him, smiling. "Time to fight." "Yes, it is," he replied, and looked to the men. "Ready or not, it's time to move." Young Ive watched as they headed out into the valley, knowing one day he will join them on his 45th season. Mainun and his men had traveled so far north they could see the sea just some ways ahead. "Okay, men," Mainun said as he paused to take heed to the land around him. "Maybe we should have gone south." He looked about, seeing nothing but land and small hills towards the horizon. "What do we do?" one of the men asked, staring at Mainun gazing off into the gorge. "We go east," decided Mainun, "towards the mountain." "Yes, we never look for beasts towards the mountain," the man said unsurely. About Mainun's choice? "And that's why. We will look now. Move." The orders were given. The day was fading and still no sign of life. The men were getting restless, but tried hard not to show it. Mainun himself was getting tired, but not restless. Determined is what he was. Being very sharp-eyed, he suddenly saw something move beneath the land. "Pause, men," he said slowly as he prowled stealthily. "Look low, men." None of the men noticed what Mainun was seeing, but follow they did. Mainun threw back his arm, signaling them to be ready. His vision moved lower and lower until he was looking directly down. He then drew his sword high, pointed its sharp tip towards the ground beneath him, and thrust his sword with all his force into the soil. A large monster reared from the ground with a mighty cry. Expeditiously, the flat, almost limbless creature folded itself backwards, rolling in its defense. The creature was about 30 feet long as it erupted from the ground. Minun was surprised at its size, but very prepared as he was holding on tightly to the handle of his sword as the creature tried to rid him. The beast was hideous. 3 large black eyes, 2 on the sides and 1 center of the head. Flytrap, jaws, strange tiny claws that seemed to be its arms, and a smooth yet rough underbelly. "Kill it!" he yelled. His men moved hastily as the monster landed back on his belly, folded out of play. Minun swiftly withdrew his sword from the creature's back and ran towards its head as he saw that one of his warriors had carelessly ventured too close to the monster's face. The creature saw him coming and lunged to feast upon him. The warrior looked high as the monster leaned upwards and struck. "Oh!" the warrior yelled, still clutching his weapon. He was so taken by the fury of the creature, he became dumbfounded. Sudden silence filled the air as the beast fell dead to the ground and slid toward the struggling warrior. He could only exhale behind the relief he now felt that the creature was dead instead of him. "Did you just piss yourself, Bolt?" Minun asked as he stood atop the now lifeless monster, his sword lodged into the large beast's skeleton, and stared down at his fighter. His attempt to loosen the tension was successful as everyone laughed in glee. No one's life had been lost, and the livestock would be full once more. The men grabbed both sides of the beast and logged it back towards their division. "What kind of beast is this, Minun?" "Food," he replied in amusement. Back at the camp, the men dropped the beast to the women, and the ones left behind hailed. Minun then made his way back to the top of the monster's head to retrieve his sword. Ive came out of the tent and watched as Minun pulled his sword from the strange long creature. He smiled and cheered. "Yeah!" The head of the beast was the thing first to go before butchering the rest of the body. Everyone was fed well that night. The ladies danced and the children played, and all were joyful. All the merriment died down. Minun went back to his tent to get some peace and rest. He waved off a good night as he left the area. Back in his tent, all he had for furnishings were his bed, stuffed with cotton, and a lamp that gave off a dim light at his control. Just as he laid back onto his bed to rest his eyes, he started turning off the light until he heard a sound, as if someone was entering his tent. He opened his eyes to see a familiar face. "Good afternoon, Primoana," he said. "Afternoon, Minun," Primoana replied, as she began removing her grey hoodie, letting her long, wavy black hair down. Her hair had blackish gold streaks that briefly shimmered in the light. She was completely covered in the grey cloak that she wore. Primoana looked as that of a child, being only 4'8" in height and very young in the face, but young she was not. "You knew it was me?" she asked. Minun only saw her as a parentless child, even though she had told him otherwise. She had let him know that she is an immortal and that her young look just came with the territory. Minun was listening to her, but never looked at her any other way than that of a child. "Who else would it be? I know the sound of your black boots," Minun replied. "I figured that," Primoana said as she removed her black gloves and sat at the other end of the bed. "You were out late today." "We went far away today. I'm surprised you didn't steal any food yet." Very funny, she replied, and then frowned. I came, but you were already gone, so then I left. You know, I never asked you. Where do you stay? He asked, cocking his head. Yes, you have. Like you're ever going to get a different answer than the last. I belong to no one. Oh yeah? He questioned. Oh yeah, she repeated sarcastically. You are so determined to ask me the same question every day, aren't you? No. What makes you say that? She laughed and told him, Stop playing. How was your day? He asked. Same old shit, she replied. Such a foul mouth. Don't talk to me like I'm some kid. Mind you, I'm older than you. Right, he smiled. I forgot. So, was the beast any challenge? She asked. Not really. I have more of a challenge finding it. You still haven't told me about your day, he said, getting comfortable with the yawn. Are you sleepy? She asked, as she began to take off his boots. I do feel sleep falling upon me, he answered. Primoana could see him begin to fall. She sat and watched him fade into slumber, and her eyes began to wander over his body. So badly she wanted to reach out and touch between his legs. She lusted heavily to take hold of his phallus, but she decided against doing so and got up to leave before she changed her mind. As she was leaving, an idea came to her head. She looked back at him and gazed again over his body. Tomorrow, she whispered, coming to a determined conclusion to have him. She stepped out of the tent in search for food and chuckled lightly at Mainin's comment about stealing food as she spotted a plate of cooked meat and fruit close by. In a flash, she teleported to the items, grabbed the plate, then the fruit, and vanished. Hey! Bolt cried out, looking about in search of who just took his meal that he knew he had just made. Which one of you assholes just snatched my tray? He shouted.